All right, YouTube, since nobody on YouTube that I could find is showing how to take the transmission control module out of a 2015 Chevy Impala. Now this body style goes all the way to 2020, maybe 2021, maybe more. I'm not following up with that, but nobody could tell me, at least when I searched, how to get the TCM out of this car. So this is the oil fill, transmission oil fill, and I had two of these cars, so I went and ripped the other one out, trial and error style. Here's the other pan. And what I did was I used this as a model. As you can see, I'm putting the bolts from my twin, take them out of this car into this car and put them there. So you see the pan is off. What I've got to do that is there's a ground for the battery, negative battery terminal. I found it made the wires a little bit easier to get to, or this easier to move away. See if we can get some light on it here. I'm not gonna have great shots, but so obviously going through and taking every single one of these bolts that are surrounding out. You see those three down there are loose. Take them all out. This is what I used. Was an air tool. Made it a whole lot easier than wiggling around this 1/4-inch drive. It just does not work efficiently. But this tool does. If you don't have one of these or an air compressor, then you're gonna have to wiggle your way around with one of these guys in a 10mm socket. Now this extension was only used for the last bolt, which was down there holding up the transmission computer communications line. So without this little extension, you can get them all done, mostly all of them done with this and this little ratchet tool. Now this is I don't even know what brand this is. I got it from the pawn shop. So once all of your bolts are out, which now I'm just going to collect these final three, my handy dandy magnet tool. I put them, every single one in here. If you don't have obviously not many people are going to have a whole spare cover, and there are differences in a couple of them, which is why, I mean, they all seem to be the same length, but look at this one. That has so you can attach something to it. But I'm not a Chevy certified Chevy mechanic, but I do know that this computer would not communicate. And I checked the relays, I checked all the pins, everything seemed fine. Everything was fine. So now it just leads me to believe that this transmission ECM went out. So now that all the bolts are out, this is not going to be easy. So I would say this is a moderate job. So this will come out. It'll feel loose, pretty loose. Actually, you could see the struggle there with that. This needs to come off. Which it should fully come out. But this one, the other car, I had torn apart the whole front end. And I might even add that video to this video to kind of give you a better perspective. But this car is all put together. Front end is still on. The other car I had radiator fans, radiator, condenser. I had everything off the front of this car. Bumpers, headlights, nothing was left. So this was a bear to get out, particularly this corner here. And so that meant pushing all of this stuff out of the way, just barely enough to get this to squeeze out and up. And I can show you this struggle, but I'm not going to bore you to death. But I'm going to show you the after video of when I get it off. But this is going to be a pain in the neck, because you have these condenser lines, radiator condenser lines here. It was just a nightmare. Like, they couldn't make this easy for the DIY guy in their backyard. So anyways, I'm not going to struggle on camera. I'm just going to spend the next 30 minutes trying to get this out. And another thing I forgot, this wire here was clipped to this. I cut it to that and that. You need that space. And you see, I got a little bit farther up. Still gonna be struggling with it, but you're gonna have to clip this. And anything else I've run into along the way, I'm gonna show you. All right, there's the nightmare of getting that stinking thing out. I've probably been at it for 20 minutes. Got the stupid housing out. Look at the marring. But what I found is pulling it straight up, struggling, getting it turned in as much to your right as possible, shoving this aside, putting this over top of it, and then pulling it out. It's easier said than done. If I show a video of me struggling for 20 minutes, it should be way too long. So, next step is to get the computer out, which you take a screwdriver, flathead, and you unpin this. Can you see this? Unpin that. That little tab just turns up, and this will just come out. Really no fuss. Sort of like that. I don't know if I caught that on camera. Same thing with this one. Honestly, showing this video, I'm not sure who wants to put all this effort into this or just hire somebody to do it. There's one all the way at the bottom right there. You see that green? I'm probably not gonna be able to focus on that. That green one all the way at the bottom, that needs to go down. Anyways, it's gonna be way, can't even tap on there. Down there. Take that screwdriver, go down there. And then, after you unclip those, you've got to unscrew the bolts that are holding this computer in, which is kind of difficult to show you from this angle, but I can try to point to them. And the extra difficult one, it's going to be ridiculous to get this out without having all this front end off, but let's see, let's find the other one. This is going to be the replacement one. I took out the other car. And I know what you're thinking, probably going to be programmed and all that, but I'm going to at least try to get this in there, and then maybe my programmer will work on it. But you see these bolts, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, plus the one that rests on top of here to hook it up to the housing. It's like a metal bracket that goes on here onto the transmission itself. So it's gonna be a headache to try to do these blind, but joys of working on a newer car. Let's keep on. All right, just as an example of how once you have all the bolts out, let me go and show you what I have here. All the bolts that I took out are put into the new TCM. And I left this bolt for last so that it'd be, I could have done that one, but doing this one or this one, once you get that top one, that last one unloosened, you'll see the transmission module is going to be very loose. So now that's coming out. So you can see we're almost there. All the wires are unplugged. You can see that 6 pin down there. 6 pins unplugged. The top 2 plugs are unplugged. All that's left is to get that last bolt out and pull the TCM out. Now you see that metal cage. I'll show you from the bucket of the old one. This metal cage just swings on the transmission housing. So this thing would focus. I guess it doesn't want to focus. So yeah, this will swing so you can swing it on out. Underneath that is this rubber gasket. What does this do? I told you before, I'm no GM tech, so this is underneath that computer chip looking thing. So when we take that out, gotta try to make sure that the other one doesn't fall. because if it does, then I don't remember which way it was facing. So that would be a problem. But anyways, we're getting there. Let's keep at it. Here it is. It's pulled out. That one bolt. Remember I was saying I don't know which way the rubber gasket goes? Well, I ain't touching it, but it stayed right where it's at. Can you see it from there? It's rubber gasket's on there. So key is, if you leave it pressed on there, you won't have to worry about it falling off and giving you more problems. So this is the dang transmission computer, TCM module. Now, will this work? I just pulled this out of another car that I only bought for the body parts, but I figured, let me just go ahead and attempt to at least swap them. I mean, let's see if the part numbers are even the same. They're probably not. One is a couple different years apart as well. 24276632. I don't even know what that has to do with anything. Yeah, those numbers are totally different. So whatever. We're gonna put this in and button everything back up and see how well she'll do. All right, YouTube. So when I had the old TCM in there, you could not see the highlighted prindum. PRNDM. And honestly, I didn't program this transmission. I'm about to use my little cheap scanner to see what the code's gonna throw, but I literally plugged and played with that TCM, and when I would put it in reverse, a huge thunk would shake the whole car. My rear camera wouldn't work, and no, it wasn't the screen or nothing. So I knew the screen was fine. My rear camera wouldn't turn on, the prindum wouldn't highlight, and I don't know how a TCM could just go bad out of nowhere, literally one day to the next. The TCM, well, I checked all the fuses, all the relays, and one day to the next, the TCM just, the car would not shift right. And these little, you see how it's highlighted red? That was not highlighted. So if you went, I can't promise this to anybody, maybe it's just a fluke, but who knows how many miles this will last like this. But as far as just plugging and playing, let's see if my scanner says it seemed to have just read it. So I don't know. Let's see, system selection, TCM. When I clicked the TCM before, it would say module information. It would say could not read. It wouldn't even let me get this far. Read fault code. DTC display. No trouble code, system normal. Now that is ridiculous, because they made this job way too difficult to change out a dang TCM. If it was on the outside of the transmission, we would not have had an issue, but it's on the inside. That pan is ridiculous to get to. Sorry for rambling, and I thank you for your patience as I worked on this vehicle. And I hope that, the only reason I made this video is I generally don't make videos that other people have made before. And in this case, nobody showed me how to do this. And so I figured I might as well record my process. If it didn't work, I would still show you guys, hey, this didn't work. But as for right now, I've got to take it for a test drive. But at least I've got the prindum back. And I believe if I do need the code just said I didn't need it programmed, but if it does need a programming, that's another hurdle to get through. But for right now, it seems to have worked for that issue. And now you just got to make sure your transmission level is right, and it should be around 5 quarts, 4.5, maybe 5 quarts drain, but just make sure that level right. You have to test the transmission, check that transmission oil when the engine is hot. So anyways, hopefully this video was help somebody, because nobody was there to help me, and hopefully you guys enjoyed this. Thanks for watching.